wait for her. Her husband then just doesn't show till she's in bed. That's when he dons his latest listening device and hears the right nice music in his head. Return to Pepperland. Come back to love and peace. Return today. Return to Pepperland. It's not a mile away. The children, Bill and Kate, live near a year apart. While as for Gran, she stays downstairs. They're very kind. She thinks of ancient mysteries running through her life and gets them all mixed up inside her mind. Return to Pepperland. Come back to love and peace. Return today. Return to Pepperland. It's not a mile away. What are you writing now? 20 years later, who would have guessed? Nelson Mandela still under arrest. People demanding love, understanding. Why don't we do something now? My cousin Min is never in the bin. Men say
Hey, McCartney fans, welcome to episode 143 of Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. As you all know, we are a McCartney talk show, mainly dealing with the solo career of Paul McCartney. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Tom Hunyadi, and you may know me from my other show, Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles videocast where we talk all things solo Beatles. I am joined by my partner in crime, my backwards traveler, Andy Nichols. Andy, hello.
Good evening, partner.
Yeah.
Last week we kind of talked about little '80s Broad Street McCartney. Now we
Right.
continue in the next phase of the '80s
Yes, yeah, we
this
kind
week.
of, yeah, now a little 80s bootlegs and sessions that yielded some tracks that never seen the light of day, and some that I have, and we're going to talk about those. That's being the Pizza and Fairy Tales bootleg and the Return to Pepperland bootleg, and
Yeah,
what they have in common, and the tracks that were on them. The people responsible for producing and stuff like that. So, but before we get to that, what's been going on?
not much. Just hanging out and enjoying our show, and a lot of good content and a lot of good concerts coming up.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm very happy. Although I did hear today that Genesis had to postpone some shows
Yes.
because
Yes.
somebody in the band had COVID. Now I don't know if that's going to affect the states tour. God, I hope it doesn't. What
Well,
did
what
you
just
hear?
means is what I think it just means it's going to postpone them getting here, because if from my understanding was is if you wanted to come here, you had to wait a couple months, quarantine for 2 weeks. I'm sorry, not a couple months, but a couple weeks
Weeks,
before
yeah.
you can get over here, and then when you do get here, you got to quarantine for a couple more weeks as well. I don't know if that's still the process or not. Maybe things have lightened up a little bit, but for them not to announce, who didn't have it, is kind of weird in a
Very.
way. When two members of Kiss got it last month, they announced that it was Gene and Paul
Right.
that got it, and others have told who got it as well. So it's kind of curious that they didn't announce who has it in the band, and whether or not how serious it is or how affected they are. So
Yeah, so that's going to put a damper on that if that
yeah.
happens. Because I'm supposed to see them in December, along
Yes, yes.
and but other than that, I'm just looking forward to um, the Beatles stuff coming out this week, the McCartney book, the lyrics book, the Get Back
Oh,
book.
yes.
It's a busy time for us.
Yeah, I mean, by the time this episode is posted, we will have the Get Back book, the Let It Be box set. Will be a couple weeks away from the lyrics book, and yeah, very exciting time. And the fourth quarter, these last few years have been just, you
18,
know,
19, 20,
right,
21, they have been absolutely off the chart. Think of the fourth quarter, going back to
right.
18, right? Red Rose Speedway,
Yes, yes.
Wildlife
Wildlife.
Block.
Yes. Uh,
19, Abbey
you know,
Road.
yeah.
The
White, yeah.
White Album.
White 18. What we had 18. We had. I think we had the Ringo album. We had the White album. We had the two McCartney archives, and I think we had the Imagine box set. Did we not?
That was
That
September,
was
yeah.
19. Yeah, so it
18.
was like four things all rolled off at once. Then 19. Yeah, I mean, it just continued. Last year we had what? We had McCartney 3. We had the I mean, just so many things. What Abbey Road box set?
And
It's just,
19, yep.
yeah,
That was the fall of 19. So it's
yeah.
been
It's never ending here,
the fourth quarter, man. They know what they're doing. So
right?
and
And then I'm sure we're gonna get if the trend continues. We got last, or what, 2 years ago we got, no, wait a minute. Yeah, 2 years ago we got or last year we got the McCartney Half Speed Master.
yep.
This year we got
Ram.
the Ram earlier this year we got the Ram Half Speed Master, and then
Oh, maybe
Wildlife.
maybe we'll get a
In December.
December could
Yep.
sneak out there quietly.
Right.
It probably will.
Yep. So lots of
Unbelievable.
things. I did actually, as far as I know, I have scored the yellow splatter vinyl from McCartney 3. The 3,333 you know
Yes.
version. So with the release date of October 22nd. So we will see if Listen, a lot of these places that are putting orders in for these, they have no idea how many they're going to get. I mean, a lot of these records have been heavily allocated. A lot of the guys at the Mike at the In Groove, he places an order for 500 copies, and he's lucky if he gets 3.
Wow.
Yeah, just I mean
300?
no 3, and
Oh, 3.
it's 3. Yeah, a lot of these, and a lot of these. Those record plants, the pressing plant, I mean, they're overwhelmed right now. I mean, there's just so much vinyl to be pressed these days that there's at least a 6-month waiting list. Even for the top stars, they have to wait in line, just like everybody else. And you got to feel bad for these the groups that are set 3rd, 4th tier groups that are trying to
Right.
get their product out, and then now they're left behind because all these big acts
All
are
the
trying
big
to get
acts are
yeah
trying to get theirs done. So that's really hard.
yeah. So really interesting. There's a lot of articles out there about the vinyl pressings these days, and the vinyl surgeons just keeps continuing
It
to
is,
grow every year.
but everybody's playing them on crap receivers for the most part. Most of the
Right.
kids buying these records are playing them on $50 turntables.
Right, and then they'll let them do that. I mean, if they're buying used vinyl, fine, But if they become serious collectors, then hopefully they'll educate themselves to get better product. I invested early this year. I invested $500 on a
Nice one.
turntable. Yeah, and I love it. I think it's great. Now I just need to invest in a higher end receiver, higher end speakers. And stuff like that. So, and it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, it's everywhere you go now. I mean, I went into a Guitar Center, which is a place to buy instruments and equipment, and they had a vinyl section.
Really?
Yeah,
Guitar Center.
Guitar
That's-
Center.
I'm sure they had the usual suspects there.
Oh yeah. Abbey
Queen's
Road,
Greatest.
Thriller,
Yeah,
Queen.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, all the big ones.
Right.
I'm here to buy an amp, and I see vinyl. I'm like, okay.
Right. And that's another thing too is a lot of those big albums, they're still very much sought after. Rumors is still
Dark Side
flying off the racks as soon as stores get them. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
It really
the vinyl's king, and it's not going away.
No. Record store day is coming up, and
Yep.
I only noticed one thing that I kind of want. It's not. It wasn't really. It's not really a necessity. But I think it was the first Crosby Nash record.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, and I think other than that, I'm gonna have to double check and go and look at it again. The wife hasn't looked at it yet, the list yet, but I tell you what, if I miss it, I'll be fine.
I think you'd survive.
I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll survive.
I think you'd survive, partner. I think you would.
Yeah, but anyways, like I said, we're going to talk about the bootleg
Return to
Pepperland. What's
Pizza and Fairy Tales? It's all the same era. It's all the same
right.
era.
It's all the same era. And what's the one you got? That's the Pizza and Fairy Tales, right?
Yeah, this is Pizza and Fairy Tales, pressed by Vigitone.
Okay.
early 2000s, and really does a nice job, kind of, I mean, with a full booklet too and photos on the whole era here.
Okay, cool.
There's a really, I mean, just a description on what Paul was doing then and everything. I mean, here you go. I'll just read a little snippet from the book here.
Yeah, please do.
Paul McCartney was a busy man in the mid to late 80s, working on much of the way of quantity, but producing little of quality. This collection features Macca trying to find his way in the music marketplace that existed during the period between 84's Broad Street and 89's Flowers in the Dirt. On January 21st, 1988, a compilation tape of many unfinished sessions from the last 4 years was assembled by Paul to give to prospective producers. That tape is the basis of Pizza and Fairy Tales. In addition, we've included several other tracks from the period, including the alternate press to play material heard here in its finest quality to date, to give a fully rounded view of a career in flux. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. The earliest songs here fall between Give My Regards to Broad Street and Press to Play. Then we can go into that later, David Foster and all that other
Right.
stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it's
Interesting.
very
Now,
fun period.
right. Now, the bulk of the work that was produced during those sessions were from Phil Ramone.
The 87 session, 86, 87.
86, 87, because they started, the first session started in 86. Well, actually, no. The first time they worked together was for Spies Like Us, that
Right.
track, because that was co-produced by Hugh, Phil, and Paul.
Right.
Then they get together in August of 86, and that's where they Phil brings in Billy Joel's backing band, or at least a couple members of the backing band, and they do the first beautiful attempt at Beautiful Night.
And then the notes here say that says 87. It could have been 86, right. 87. It was either 86 or 87. I'm not sure exactly when, but
yeah, Chip's got it on 86 in the book here.
Okay, so we go with Chip.
Yeah, August 21st of 86 to be exact. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about those early takes of Beautiful Night. I mean, obviously not what it was to become for, on Flaming Pie. First couple attempts were
more of a power, but it's a power ballad.
Right.
It's a power ballad in that version, in that first version, with Phil Ramone, which the public heard much of it for the first time as a B-side single on Ubu Jubu.
Yep.
But that wasn't even the full version. It was only about 4 minutes of this track. Finally, last year it became a download track as a part of the archive for Flaming Pie, and you heard all 6 minutes and change officially released by McCartney. But it's I listened to this version as much as the version on Flaming Pie, if I'm being brutally honest.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard it several times. I tend to enjoy it. I mean, I love this song. I'll take any version of this song I can get, and then I love, obviously we love the progression, of these tracks, and this one definitely went through that. But I'm kind of in the camp that is happy that it didn't get released, and that he put it in his back pocket, brought it out for Flaming Pie and dressed it up, and the results were excellent.
And what really kind of puts the stamp of approval on that Flaming Pie version, of course, it's produced by George Martin, so it's got that Beatle stamp on it.
Right, exactly.
It's on it. So
Ringo's there.
Ringo's on it. George is on it. So that gives it that quality, and a tremendous song. Either version that you hear, it really is. I just it's Billy Joel's backing band is on this one. Again, a little heavier thing, much more 80s production on it. Be interesting if it came out in 86 or 87, how would it have been, would it have been a standalone single? Would it have been
we may have gotten it if Rob Reiner didn't turn it down as a possible song for the Princess Bride soundtrack.
That's right.
Or film,
that's right. It was supposed to be in there.
Yeah, that and Once Upon a Long Ago as well. So
yeah,
that's definitely something that I would love to try to get a hold of Rob Reiner to have him on and talk to him.
Come on, Meathead.
What were you thinking, Meathead?
What were you thinking, Meathead? Not using Paul's song. I will call him a Meathead too for not using that song. I will.
Too funny. Too funny.
Yeah, but let's look at this period before we dive into the album proper.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's clearly like the low point. If you're going to look at it fair and balanced, you're going to look at it objectively. Okay. He's kind of in a lost period. Broad Street as a flop commercially. He goes and does Live Aid. Live Aid is a disaster. And he goes to press to play with Hugh.
Well, first he does get a little bit of success with a top 10 hit with Spies Like Us.
Spies Like Us is the only bright spot in this whole period, really, other than No More Lonely Night, commercially.
Right. Commercially. Okay.
So, he...
In the States. Let's just say in the States, because Broad Street, as we know, went to #1 in the UK.
Yeah, did very well. So, but Broad Street And then and also having the success of We All Stand Together, which was also 84. That's also did very well. So 85, 86, 87 really starts kind of a little bit of a weird period for him, really, in the States anyway, in terms of how he's perceived and trying to market a 45-year-old ex-Beatle solo career. So, as he tried to go contemporary with Hugh Padgham, didn't work. Gets Phil Ramone in there, tries to do it again, and becomes this album that could have came out was the result of those sessions.
Right. Absolutely. You look back at this point in time, you see some success, and you have to see the frustration with Paul. I mean, obviously, like we said, Press to Play doesn't go anywhere here in the States. The singles obviously don't go anywhere near the States. However, the single Press wasn't enjoyable. I don't know where you stand with the song Press.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. It'll be in my top 50.
Right. Yeah, but and Stranglehold goes nowhere as well, unfortunately. So
no, but you like Press?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Remember the day it debuted on MTV? It was hook, line, and sinker on that song. But still, for some reason, it didn't make me want to go out and buy the album.
You didn't. See?
No. Yeah.
Now you were obviously way younger back then. So.
Yep. Yeah.
What market was he going for? With Press, you didn't buy it, so
right.
It's hard to think about what he would have really done else after this. I mean, forging ahead with a Return to Pepperland, even as a concept, talk about that, right? I mean,
right.
Concept is that was the album that was going to be called? I mean, I know we called that's the period of the sessions, but was there anything really in place to come out as an album called Return to Pepperland? I don't think so.
Right.
The song.
Right. I mean, obviously, we got the 20th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper. He wants to pay tribute to that. We get he gets this love letter, or he writes this love letter to 67. Called Return to Pepperland, and we'll get to that. Our thoughts on that song as well. But again, it's just Paul. In a way, kind of being lost in a way. I mean, I don't want to say that he was like really lost, but he needed. I don't think that was the kind of song that was going to bring him back into top 10.
No, like he was trying to, like he wanted to get with My Brave Face. That kind of a song, even though it didn't even set the world on fire either, sadly.
Right.
But that sound, that energy, it should have been a top 10 single. I always thought.
Right. Well, I mean, I think there were some songs in this catalog of songs that did have some energy. Don't get me wrong, but again, was there enough there to have made this a successful, return to, top 10 for Paul, whether it was a top 10 album or a top 10 single?
Top 10 single, maybe. Album, I don't know. I mean, if we're including Once Upon a Long Ago on this, then I think that gives it more of a chance.
Right. But see, again, that goes to show you if the Capitol didn't feel that would have been, I mean, because they didn't release it here in the States. It was just a UK hit. They didn't feel it had any hit potential here from what else was big at the time in 87.
Right, and to their credit, they probably were right. It probably wasn't going to do well here. It may not have done well here. It did well in England.
Oh, absolutely, top 10. Yeah,
top 10
I think that was his last top 10 hit in the UK.
I believe it was. So once, which was over 35 years ago.
Right? Is that crazy?
Ridiculous. So you take that, you play, and then the B-side, Back on My Feet.
Right.
You cobble there's some really strong songs here. Now there's some songs.
I think so.
There are really some strong songs here. There are some songs from this period, this album, Lost Album, that I'm not fans of, and we talked about them when we did our shows where we do like the non-album tracks. There's some songs on here that I'm really not a fan of. Oh, they go on too long. I know like one of them, Atlantic Ocean. You and I both don't like that song.
Well, I got to be honest. That the song's growing on me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. However, there is the big dud of all big duds here. P.S. Love Me Do.
Oh yeah. Which he only did, I think, because it's a song that he actually at the time still retained copyright on, because
copywriting for right.
it was not part of the Jackson buy.
Right.
So P.S. I Love You and Love Me Do is what he had still, because that was still Ardmore and Beechwood, if memory serves here, which was their first publishing company before Northern Songs. It was published by Ardmore and Beechwood. So he retained the rights to that. So he did this kind of half-assed, as I write this letter. Oh man,
it's terrible.
Oh,
just terrible.
And then out of all the songs to do live, that song you do live. This one's from a long time ago, but we're gonna give it a try. Okay. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so again, he brings in Phil Ramone, does a couple tracks. One does see the light of day. Obviously, the second sessions begin in March of 1987, and that's when we get this plethora of songs here that some go nowhere, some have still not been released officially to this day, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, like it's not like Big Day. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Right.
That was rough. That's a rough one, man.
Right.
My big day.
Big day. Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, let's go down the list because from this this Return to Pepperland CD, which unfortunately I lost. Our past guest Ed Crawford sent me a copy, so Ed, thank you very much for that. If you can send me another one, I'd really appreciate it. But I cannot find it, unfortunately.
All right, so we're gonna.
But started off with Beautiful Night, which we talked about.
Right, and to Loveliest Thing.
Loveliest Thing now, which was ended up being a B-side for Figure of Eight. I've always enjoyed like this, and I've always stated it's always sounded like a Billy Joel song to me.
Yes.
It's probably the Billy Joel song hit that never was.
Without permission.
Without permission, absolutely. As we talked about before, the two songs merged into one, which he's always done so well, except for P.S. Love Me Too.
Yeah, but the Loveliest Thing, it really is a gem of a song for a beat. Again, continuing high quality B-side material. This is right up there with that, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Nice that it finally did sneak out there on Figure of Eight, but now it actually has a proper home, housed in the Flowers archive from which it came.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. Now this did also make it onto the '93 Paul McCartney collection, Flowers.
It did
as a bonus track as well. So if you are looking for that song, that's another way you can find the song. Yeah,
because I don't know, was it a download only track on Flowers? The Flowers archive, or was it on CD?
I
think it was download only.
So the download only.
That was it. Yeah, that was the snap. That was the whole extra track you have to be downloaded, and you got the whole disc of the Elvis demos, but you didn't get the actual corporate bonus.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, do I still have? I still have my '93 collection, Flowers in the Dirt, for that reason, because of the fact that Loveliest Thing was
on that.
And let me check here. What are the two others that are on there?
You also had it on the go ahead.
Flying to My Home and Back on My Feet.
Right, now if you had the Japanese Flowers has that as well.
Right. Now does that have Party on it?
It does.
It does. Okay.
It does. So the second disc has a message to Japan, which opens it, which is pretty cool. A new studio recording of The Long and Winding Road. So Tom's like, really? You're going to revisit that again? Loveliest Thing. Rough Ride, another single edit. Ue Essa Sole, 7-inch mix. Mama's Little Girl. Same time next year. Party. And of course, the aforementioned P.S. Love Me Do on the Japan.
Gotcha. So I need to find that. I do have the World Tour pack coming,
right?
Which has the mini disc with Party on it,
right? Yeah. Nice score though to have all kind of it houses in that same period as well, but
but it doesn't have like Good Sign on there, which was around that same period too. It almost should have been like the complete works for Off the Ground as well. You could have added, It's almost kind of like the precursor to that.
Yeah, I think when people want to jump into I think the 80s is a nice period for people to jump into lost stuff for Paul, because there is so much of it out there, right? The 70s, he was so successful, so commercial. there wasn't too much that snuck out of the 70s that didn't get released in some form or another, right? Because he was so on top of his game. The 80s, he did so much, and then there was a lot there in between the cracks. Think about all the work he did going back to, starting with McCartney 2, into Tug of War, Pipes of Peace sessions, Broad Street projects, and now all this stuff. So the 80s is it's certainly a rocky road for McCartney, but there's plenty of material to sift through.
Plenty, because he was very busy during that time. He's from 80 to 86
for not touring, and
not touring either, right?
Occasional TV appearance, concert appearance, the one Live Aid, and then of course the Prince's Trust in '86, which was really the spark for him to play live again. Which really, if you've ever seen that video, the energy he had, the energy back when he did that show, which kind of got him propelled to do that. Okay, maybe
I'm sure he did a sound check for that one.
That one probably got a sound check. Yeah. Did you watch Live Aid in 1985? Do you remember?
No, but the Prince's Trust, yes. I mean, I did see a reshowing of that when that got aired on whatever channel it did. Matter of fact, I remember both, because the next year you had George and Ringo,
right, and they did it
on that one. Yeah.
Both
were really good shows.
Very good shows, but for somebody who was really adamant for not touring, films, TV appearances, it did Broad Street. And then loads of music videos. I mean, throughout the video age, right? That was when the videos really became. So, he's got a lot of stuff. Very creative period. We've talked about it in past shows. The Pretty Little Head video, which was amazing. Lots of stuff. And then All the Best and Once Upon a Long Ago. I mean, this is not somebody who was just sitting on his ass.
He was he's definitely not resting on his laurels.
Animated films. We All Stand Together. The Rupert film. I mean, doing so much.
Absolutely agreed. Moving on. So then we get track 3 is Atlantic City, which, like I said,
I wish I was in Atlantic City.
Listen, I mean, the more I hear this one, the more I'm actually enjoying this. So I'm definitely gonna spend some more time with this one. And this was released as a B-side on Young Boy, which was part of the Ubu Jubu set on that CD single. So it's a CD single that you have to look for to get that track.
If you want the Atlantic Ocean. And I'm always amazed why he picked a couple of songs from this period to issue as B-sides during the Flaming Pie era.
Right. Well, I mean, you look at it, there wasn't really that much stuff recorded. I mean, there was, I mean, you got Broomstick and some other tracks.
Looking for You, thank you.
But when you have the CD singles, and obviously you could put more stuff on there, so why not? But it is interesting to know why he picked, like you said, those unreleased tracks from the 80s for the Ubu Jubu show.
I want to say this is totally a hypothesis, that because he revisited Beautiful Night for Flaming Pie and listened to that original demo, and probably at some point was like, I'm going to rework this. And then maybe he by pulling out Beautiful Night and hearing what he was doing with Phil Ramone, he then was going through those other tracks and said, I did Love Come Tumbling Down. I'll issue that. I did Atlantic Ocean. I'll issue that. I did whatever. And, some of these other songs. And maybe he just went back and said, okay, Love Mix, which also snuck out in Ubu Jubu, not as a song, but he might have just said, okay, this is what I love this house. That came out as a B-side during Flaming Pie.
Correct.
So there's probably, just a guess.
Yeah. Now, the PS Let Me Do. Now, let me ask you, is that a live version? Was it only live that was recorded? They did a studio recording.
That's the one on the Japanese Flowers.
Studio recording.
Studio, yeah.
Okay. I have to go back and and check out the CD. Now, the CD single also of Birthday has PS Love Me Do as well. Right.
Yes, it does.
Right. Now, does that say live or not?
This is probably live.
Right.
I think this is live because everything else on here is live.
Live, right.
Birthday, Good Day Sunshine, PS Let Me Do, and Let Him In. This is the live recording.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that for sure that's what this one is. In fact, it is live because right here, Macarena Stadium in Rio. That was the Rio show.
It was a Rio show.
185,000 people.
Right. The biggest crowd at that time, I believe.
At that time, right. Birthday was from Nebworth, of course. Love Me Do was from PS Let Me Do was from Rio. Good Day Sunshine Montreal, and Let Him In from Tokyo, which I always loved how he did a Wings song, deeper Wings song on that tour. I always enjoyed that.
No, great pick for Let Him In, absolutely. Track 5, we got this one, which was a demo version. Now, was that also on Pizzas and Fairy Tales as well?
That the demo version of this one is also on Pizza and Fairy Tales as well. Yep.
Right.
And yeah, the track listing is a little different, but it's pretty much the same. But you got the demo, charming demo. I remember really being impressed with that when I heard it. Man, what a great demo.
Yeah, now that demo hasn't made it out anywhere. It's only been officially released on the bootlegs, right? So no, I don't think it has seen any official.
That came out on the Flowers Archive.
The demo?
Yep.
Not for what? For where though? Download only?
Download only.
Okay.
But it's been officially released by McCartney.
Okay. But was it that version, or could have been a different?
No, same
version,
one.
maybe?
Same one.
Okay.
Same exact version. Yeah, 3 minutes and change. So that finally got that demo did come out as a part of all those downloads. Again, which was just such a shame.
Right. Moving on, track 6 now, one that I really enjoy, Love Come Tumbling Down. This one did make it as a B-side, a CD B-side, I believe, for Beautiful Night.
This again snuck out again during Beautiful Night. This one, I'll tell you, I had this in this was in my first installment of our favorite track series. I had it in my, I forget where I had it, but I've always enjoyed this one, quite a bit. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Nice little bass
Obviously,
line.
this was the B-side. This was the 7-inch B-side only. So sorry, I got to correct myself.
It's on the CD,
but it's
on the CD
inch.
too. It's on the CD as well.
Let's double check on that.
I'll tell you right now. I'll pull it right here. I've had it here for the last 20 years.
It's the first. No.
Here you go. Here you go.
Okay. That's what CD is that though? Because there was 2 different CDs.
This is both of them.
Oh, that's both. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Great.
Available separately, but I bought the second one, and you see it says available separately.
Right. Yeah.
So there was by itself, and then I bought the second one and threw it in.
I gotcha. Okay.
So it was, so you had to. It only did come with the first one, but then you had to buy the second disc, okay, to get what they were talking about on here. So you got Love Come Tumbling Down issued on this as well.
Very good, because the 3 singles were issued twice on CD. You know what I mean? So you got 6 different versions of Ubu Jubu, right? Because both CD singles were released twice, but with different supposed B-sides.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, then so then I don't know what rule. Wait a minute here. So Once Upon a Long Ago, we know that was released as a single in the UK, but bootlegged here, which makes sense now as I'm thinking about it. This was also on the UK version of All the Best.
In the single version. Now you got a couple different versions of the song. You've got the edited version, which is on All the Best, 4 minutes. I prefer the longer solo with the violin by a wonderful British artist Nigel Kennedy, who was on that. The 6-minute version, which I think is the extended version, which is I think Tom, you have that too, the gray.
I believe so. Yeah, that's the 12-inch.
The 12-inch, which has the longer version on that, which I've always enjoyed. Really, one of McCartney's best melodies. I've always thought of Once Upon a Long Ago. Love, and again, just a criminal that it did not come out here in the United States.
Right.
And again, it was done. I think Once Upon a Long Ago was done kind of after all this Pepperland stuff, but it gets lumped in with this era.
Right.
I think anyway.
Right. Back on my feet. B-side to Once Upon a Long Ago. This is I think arguably one of his better B-sides throughout his entire career. Obviously, we know he had most of the song done, but this was the first song they worked on, or McManus and McCartney worked on. McManus brought some stuff some lyrics to the table on that, and that was the first song that we got officially released from that partner, from that collaboration. Yeah.
Right. And in 87. And if you want to tell you what, if you want to hear the difference in what Elvis brought to that song, a download only version of the demo came out again, as I've mentioned a few times tonight, on that Flowers archive. And you can hear Paul's bare bones demo on a piano without the extra stuff that Elvis, I think, brought to that song, the extra verses and stuff like that. You know, just the bare bones stuff. How many days will the wet letter last? I want to know when a cloud. That's all there. But then, you know, I don't need love. You know, that part of it was not as fully fleshed out. And obviously, that's probably what Elvis helped out with that song. One of well, I'm not going to tell you where that song is ranked in mine, but it's up there.
Now, never officially released, but planned as a 12-inch single release was Return to Pepperland. Now, you know, for me, like we said earlier, I'm glad that this wasn't released. I don't see how this could have helped his career at all. You know, this love letter to that time. You know, lyrically and musically, you know, maybe if you worked on it a little bit more, you know, maybe it could have improved. But you know, this one does absolutely nothing for me.
You're not a fan of this song?
No, not at all.
I like this one. I'm not going to say I love it, but I've always enjoyed this one. The lyrics are absolutely not.
We already talked about this one.
You know, my cousin Lil comes home at late. That's late for her. That means absolutely nothing. But I do like musically where it goes, the changes in it. You know, the dear old dad. What are you writing about? 20 years later, I like all that stuff. It's nothing. It's not top tier.
No,
it's mid level. But I like the vibe for what he was going for.
Right.
And I do think it's a little bit. And I think he's. You know, was he? I have to look at the timing and the dates. But was Cloud9 already out? Because if When We Was Fab was already out, this is
right. And that's what what I was reading, that When We Was Fab was already released. This is which was a much better.
Yeah, it was. If we're going back and give homage to Pepper and 20 years ago, When We Was Fab is a kick-ass job. This is not. This is not. And you know, I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us, but I do think When We Was Fab was out first, because I can't see Paul starting this trip of nostalgia. You know, George had incredible success with Cloud9, big comeback, big hit, and I'm sure that kind of got Paul's goat a little bit. You know, because Paul was kind of, we've talked, was floundering here commercially. Here comes George, no new material in 5 years. Out of nowhere, it comes out with a big hit, a single, a cover, no less.
Right.
Two videos for it. Right. Jeff Lynne production. Ringo's on it. Great videos. When We Was Fat. So I'm sure Paul was probably a little bit perturbed at that.
It did not do anything for his ego, I could say.
No.
So yeah, I mean, I could see this track being released in the UK. But I couldn't see this being released in the U.S. either.
No, it just it would need a lot of rehabbing lyrically. I think this song excels musically versus lyrically. 20 years later, Nelson Mandela still on the rest.
Right. See, now this track could have probably been helped with some McManus, maybe. You know.
Yes.
McManus helping polish this one up a little bit. Right.
I like the concept of Return to Pepperland as a concept. I like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It needed a little more with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Somehow, in my opinion.
Right. Big Day, which is again,
Big Skip.
Yeah. Just like kind of like Night Out, which is better. But
Night Out's better,
nothing, but nothing lyrically. All you're getting is Night Out, and then here you're just getting, Big Day. Not really minutes. Much. Yeah, for 5:36 to be exact.
Ooh, no.
But again, never officially released. I don't think this was even part of Ubu Jubu. So, again, this one.
This one still is not out. Yeah, not out.
Well, this one is out, but not this one.
How many times are you gonna keep making that joke?
Am
I a clown? Am I a clown? Do I amuse you?
Yeah, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're good. You.
Oh.
Anyways, enough of Big Day. One that's kind of interesting that I didn't really care for first few times I heard it. Went back and listened to it the other night. It was Peacocks. Kind of interesting in a way. Again, another bird title song. 3:47. Not
No, that's not the full version of Peacocks is 7 minutes and 4 seconds.
Well, then you know what? Then that is way too long.
Yeah. 7:04 Peacocks.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, cool. So the Return to Pepperland then must be shortened then. The short version.
No, that's the full.
Okay, because I'm showing 3:47 here.
But that's the version that cut out on Ubu Jubu.
Okay. Yes, because that's where it first was released, not released, but first aired was on Ubu Jubu. Yes.
Interesting. I like hearing Linda do those sounds and stuff, but I wouldn't have taken up album space with a song like that.
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, this would have been relegated to a CD B-side, a 12-inch B-side maybe.
Yes.
But again, never really officially released on CD.
Not yet. I mean, but it's a part of Ubu Jubu if you have those CD singles and you want to hear squawking. And I know somebody had mentioned that we should do a show defending Linda McCartney, and I thought that was a great topic because
we can do that eventually. I mean, Dave and I, we did do a 2-episode arc where we just talked about all the great things from Linda, and plus we got with part 2 of Women and Wives with Natalia. We're going to be talking about Linda anyway.
Plenty, we are.
So we're going to really, absolutely, we'll talk about all her accomplishments. What she brought to the table for Wings. So she's going to get a lot of love from us real soon, next month to be exact. So and 12 is one again. I don't know why I like this, but maybe it's just the way he just we gotta love Mick. It's just one of those catchy tunes that Paul does so easily for me. Love Mix, which ended up being the B-side to the other Beautiful Night CD single.
The 7-inch.
The 7-inch.
The 7-inch. If you had that, it was on that. Now again, this is 2 songs into one. Love Mix and Waiting for the Sun to Shine, which goes back to 1974, actually, as a demo that he worked out on that. Right. If you have that bootleg, the piano tape, you can hear him pounding away, just waiting for the sun to shine. Not the Love Mix part. We got a lot. It was just just that kind of waiting for the sun to shine, which is nice, and I would like to hear this song without all that 80s production saturating it, though.
Right.
A little bit over the top, in my opinion, but I great song.
Right. All right, then other songs associated with this release. Now we go back to '84 for David Foster sessions. Which 3 tracks were recorded for those sessions. You got Lindiana, which if you go on YouTube and type in "Return to Pepperland," that's going to be, I think, track 1. On that release, on that release. Is. Now, again, never officially released, but I really like Lindiana.
Great song.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I think, one of those where you talked about there's some strong stuff with some energy. I think this is one of those tracks that, maybe, I don't know if it's a top 10, but maybe top 30 at least, maybe something to give Paul some momentum back.
Something, right?
During that time.
Good little funky jam. Good little funky jam at the outro too. Where it starts out as a nice ballad and then it takes you off the last minute and a half of kind of a little funky outro going.
Right. The last 2 tracks, I mean, heavy with, as we know, this was Paul, this was Gilmore, and this was Dave Maddox for these sessions. Yes. We got married. An early version that was, ended up being re-recorded as we know for Flowers in the Dirt. I think they kept that same guitar work from Gilmore.
Not much. Yeah, they did. Not much is different than this version that ended up the version on Flowers. Okay, it's a little more polish was put on it. I think I don't know if this is one of the tracks that was produced by Trevor Horn or Steve Lipson on Flowers, but it's basically the same track that they did in '84. But just brushed up a little bit. They added a little more vocals, like the outro. It's not just a loving machine. Doesn't work. That stuff is a little more prominent in the finished version. You don't hear that as much on this early version. But I was amazed when I first got this bootleg. Okay, and I was like, oh, We Got Married. It's going to sound radically different than the Flowers in the Dirt. It was the same version.
It's not right.
I was like, okay, this isn't too different.
You don't what I've noticed a lot is you don't notice a lot of change, whether you hit an early demo from Paul on a track to the finished product. There's really not a lot of change, or
oh, you're muted, buddy.
Everything seems to be pretty much realized once he brings a song into the studio.
Once he brings it to the table, and once he knows, in other words, like not like Lennon or Harrison, when you hear the songs in stages,
right?
You're pretty much hearing it. This is how the song is going to go, which is just how he writes,
Right. The next track, which is my favorite from these, is "I Love This House." Just love this stuff. This was the B-side to "The Young Boy," which was the CD single, which was part of then the Ubu Jubu set. Now, the funny thing is, when you get those CDs that you showed, those CD singles. Now, when you see those the track listings are separate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when you get the Flaming Pie box set that just came out, they're not separate. They're one big lump sum.
And that's annoying.
Right.
Like here you go. The first time I ever heard "I Love This House," I was on this.
Right.
And it was part of it was just bunched in with Ubu Jubu, which was annoying.
Right.
And even still now with Flaming Pie, the archive, they still did it the same way. They just took the Ubu Jubu stuff and just threw it all together. And that's a pity.
Yeah, and it's all one track list. So you can't, if you
can't jump around.
You can't jump around, exactly. You got to listen to the whole thing. Yeah.
And that's really annoying. Whereas if you do have a bootleg and you have it ripped or you like playing the bootlegs, you can listen to I Love This House, which that opens up Pizza and Fairy Tales. That's the first song. That's the first song on this one.
Okay. Very cool. Now we go to songs that were done between 81 and 89. Now is Squid on the Pizza and Fairy Tales?
Squid is on Pizza and Fairy Tales in full length too, 6 minutes and 25 seconds.
Okay. Yep. See, now that was a CD B-side to The World Tonight. Again on Ubu Jubu. This one I really enjoy. I like to do. I kind of like that.
They're all very heavy, which is cool. Sounds like an underwater song almost.
Oh yeah, of course. Squid. I mean, you would hope that. Right.
Then I got a great guitar work by Paul in that.
Yes, the opening licks I enjoy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might be overly long at 6:25, but it's maybe a little bit, but one of his nicest melodies, really, for just putting it together, jamming out on guitar, and just really having fun in his studio. That's what that song is to me.
Just more experimenting, just fooling around in the studio. Speaking of fooling around or experimenting, Christian Bop, which. Again, recorded in January of 81. Now this was released on the Pipes of Peace archive,
and also made its appearance on this too as well.
Yes, Crypt. Yes, yeah, exactly.
But Christian Pop did get a release on Pipes of Peace, the archive, in 2015.
That's what I said. Yep.
Always forgot about that.
Yep.
From Crypt, from Pipe. What do you think? Do you like it?
No. Never been a fan. Listened to it quite a few times, because I mean I'm trying to get more into his instrumentals, so I've gone back several times and listened, specifically those 80 ones that like the Hey Hays and big again Christian Bop and Big Night and whatever.
Yeah, I like Christian Pop. I like that. You like that?
No, that's so annoying to me. Dun, dun, dun. No,
really. Nice melody in this, though.
Right. That's like someone coming up to you and doing that to your chat. It's
Christian Bop, I think, is fantastic.
Okay.
I love Christian Bop. I absolutely love it. Now, that is, I can see where that be, but the melody in this is pretty cool. I've always thought.
Right.
Oh, and
Moving
one of
on,
your
same.
favorites. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of
same
your
love.
favorites.
Oh,
One of your favorites.
beautiful piano introduction from Nicky Hopkins. What I believe that was the first time Nicky Hopkins worked with McCartney during his solo career. I believe, if correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, if there was
This one,
another
yeah.
time.
I think this was it, really. And then he would
Mm.
do it again on That Day Is Done. He's on piano
That
on
date's
that.
done, right? Beautiful. Yeah. Again, this released on the B side to Beautiful Night.
He was smart enough to take this song and make it its own track. He wasn't going to lump this in with Ubu Jubu.
Right.
Thankfully, this song needed to be standalone heard.
Right. This is one of my favorites of that period. This is, I think, one of those tracks that, again, could have given him some consistency or potential in some kind of maybe top 20 hit. I don't know. Was it what was being played at that point in time in 87, 88? I mean, there was a lot of ballads. Ballads, tend to do well in charts. No matter what the big scene is, whether or not it was, hip hop or hair metal, whatever, ballads, no matter who it was, always did well on charts.
Yeah, especially in the 80s with the power ballads.
Yeah.
Think about,
Yeah.
Peter Cetera and Chicago and
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, on and on and on. Whitney Houston, so many, Billy Ocean, from people from all over,
Phil,
having big hits. Yeah, Phil Collins had some big ballads that did, Take a Look at Me Now,
Against All Odds. I mean, you could see
Against All Odds, yeah.
That's this song, the Same Love. You could see where that genre was just, it was trying to become that, and it just got relegated. It was elbowed as a B-side,
right?
But it's such a great tune, and your praise of it is very all very deserving, because it's one of his best songs, vocally as well as just as a song, musically.
Right. Yeah. I agree. And lastly, here we got "Don't Break the Promise," which, again, another B-side from the CD single of "The World Tonight." Now, I guess this wasn't recorded during Press to Play. I mean, I'm sorry, Press to Play. It says here,
after
recorded at Hog Hill. Yeah, after in '88.
Well, written with Eric Stewart, but as we know, Eric Stewart was long out of the picture by that time.
Right. But I do believe he did his own version for a 10cc album as well.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, which I tend to like this demo version better than what he did with it. Just like Yvonne, I didn't really care what he did with Yvonne as well, compared to what Paul's demo for that song.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of "Don't Break the Promise" as a song.
Right.
I think it's a little weaker side.
Right. So let's talk about the cassette then that was given to Trevor Horn and Steve Lipson. Then you got "Return to Pepperland," "Love Come Tumbling Down," "Christian Bop," or Pop, sorry, "Atlantic Ocean," "Lindiana," "I Love This House." We got "Married," "Rough Ride," "Figure of Eight." That was side A. Side B, then you got "Squid," "Big Day," "Beautiful Night," "Loveliest Thing," "Love Mix," "Peacocks," and this one. Now, if I'm, one of those two and I'm, listening to songs on here, I'm really shocked that they don't, have a go at "Beautiful Night."
Right? How do they not go through that and say, let's put that on this album? I mean, it's amazing, right?
Right. So obviously then we got 1, 2, 3, four of these 16 tracks make it onto "Flowers in the Dirt."
Yeah, only 4.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff was just discarded, really. But I'm just, but Paul says in the World Tonight documentary, he goes, I had a song called "Beautiful Night," and people that heard it always liked it.
Right.
But it just wasn't the right version of it. So maybe they probably were just like, well, it's too long or it's too bloated, or, let's go for more of a fresher approach. But listen, I'm glad it came out when it did, but I'm also glad that we have this version to go back to.
Absolutely. Of all of this stuff, I mean, what's the standouts for you that you think, if released in, let's say, here in the States in 87, 88, what here do you see as, hit potential?
Hit potential.
if any.
If any, maybe Love. Well, if Figure of Eight's on there, maybe Figure of Eight, but
Okay.
that came out in flat. Maybe Love Come Tumbling Down, definitely. Loveliest Thing, and Beautiful Night. I think that's and maybe Lindiana.
Yeah. Yeah, when you say Love Come Tumbling Down, it's interesting because there were some artists that were these adult contemporary that were having hits, especially like a Joe Jackson,
Yep.
Something that was breaking us in two, for a matter, let's say it was a hit for him. Would this do good for Paul? I mean, obviously we don't know, but for me, I mean, I think. I mean, obviously, if he worked "Beautiful Night," maybe. If it was to go coincide with Princess Bride,
Yep.
maybe. Geez, oh Pete's. We got married. Potentially, maybe had I think maybe had a chance to succeed.
That could have maybe I know, and certainly, I mean, could have been. I mean, did a video for it eventually.
Right. I mean, as much as I love This House, I don't know if that could have been a hit.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that would have been a better album track.
Better album track. Yeah, there you go. Loveliest Thing. Maybe
that maybe.
If maybe reworked a little way, maybe a different arrangement. I don't know, but I tend to like it as is.
Agreed.
But again, there's not, you're looking at different Paul here. I mean, you're not getting, besides I Love This House, you're not really getting, good, upbeat, energetic songs. You're looking at a lot of more, instrumental, experimental ballads, adult contemporary, if you want to use that term, safe, maybe, So, I mean, it's hard to say, Same Love too. I mean, we talk highly of that one, and or at least I do. And again, would that work during that time in 87, 88?
Right. I mean, it's album orientated rock, soft, middle of the road. I mean, there's nothing on here that has the energy of when you put on Flowers in the Dirt and you hear My Red Face. Nothing. Right. Not a one.
Now, this wouldn't be an album to get Paul like a top 3 album.
No,
I don't think.
No, it's a collection of hodgepodge stuff with different producers from different eras, and I think it was right to be shelved. In all honesty, I do.
Yeah.
I don't think
as much as we will. Yeah. Go ahead.
As much as we would have liked it as fans,
right? Exactly.
We love the music. Right. I think it was right to not. This did not need to come out in that form. The album that you referenced, the track listing, this One Piece and Fairy Tales. I think, what came out, and I think that the nature of events that led for Paul to get to the point where he felt good about himself with Flowers is what it was. He had to go through Press to Play. He had to go through Live Aid. He had to go through this, the Broad Street, and kind of figuring out, okay, let me get a shot in the arm. Let me get a new producer in here. Let me sit down with an Elvis Costello and try to read, that, and he had to go through all this stuff to get to that point. Right. And
is that, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
I'm saying the Pizza and Fairy Tales bootleg. What's the track listing on that, if you don't mind?
Sure. It's 2 discs. Okay.
2 discs. Okay.
2 discs. So disc 1 is I Love This House, Lindiana. We Got Married. Move Over Busker, Good Times Come and Feel the Sun. It's Not True. Press. However Absurd. Stranglehold. Footprints. Right Away. Tough on a Tightrope. Yvonne. Pretty Little Head.
And that's I know you can find on YouTube as well. That's like the stripped down Paul, Eric Stewart, and Jerry Marotta.
It's all
Jerry Marotta. Right.
Right. It's all the Press to Play material, but stripped, which is exactly what this is.
Right.
Pretty Little Head, Talk More Talk, and Only Love Remains, which was the live version from that he did.
Okay.
Where he said, if you just keep the noise down, that's the live version. Disc 2, Beautiful Night, Loveliest Thing, Squid, this one, Love Come Tumbling Down, Atlantic Ocean, Love Mix, Return to Pepperland, Once Upon a Long Ago, P.S. Love Me Do, Big Day, Christian Bop, Peacocks, Rough Ride, and Figure of Eight. So this too is much more of the Return to Pepperland album.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Cool. Well, what do you guys like about these bootleg? I mean, for me, I really enjoy the Return to Pepperland bootleg as it is. It's one of my favorite bootlegs in the world of McCartney bootlegs. I know there's tons of them out there that I'm just scratching the surface on.
Yeah.
So but it definitely holds up as a really good collection of songs that haven't really seen the light of day.
Return to Pepperland, Peace and Fairy Tales. It's a nice way to kind of cobbles this whole little lost period together of the 80s. It really it is. And to hear where he was at, just as a guy who was in his 40s saying, how do I stay relevant here? How do I want to stay relevant. I'm a musician. I'm trying to forge on with my life and my career and raise my kids. Also, after trying to recover from the death of my best friend, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with that with life? And it's some of it. Listen, it's not music that's going to set the world on fire, but it's good music if you like Paul.
Right. Absolutely. So if you like Paul, you'll like it. If you don't like Paul, you won't like it.
Yeah, if you're open to Paul, his experimental stuff, Peacocks and Squid and doing that stuff, then you'll like it. If you're in the middle of the road on Paul or whatever, then anybody John fans out there, don't go near this. Don't go near this.
Anyways, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Again, in the comments, please let us know what tracks from these two collections you're a fan of. Let us know, and I would love to hear from you guys. By the time this airs, we're going to be part 2 of our 101 favorite McCartney tracks will be, or songs, I should say, will be aired on our YouTube channel. So please make sure you check us out on our YouTube channel, Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. Andy, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, it's a great show, brother, and I'm going to go have a listen to this album again now.
Excellent. Love it. You can always find us. You can always find me on Facebook, Tom Hunyadi. You can find Two Legs on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Two Legs Podcast. Yep. You can email us at twolegspodcast@gmail.com. We're everywhere. Andy, thank you so much for getting us on all these different audio outlets and where people can listen to this show. It's really been growing these last 2 years that you've been a part of the show, and let's keep the momentum going because it's a lot of fun, and hopefully we're gonna you guys will like the shows we got upcoming, and really excited about them, and good times coming.
Feel the sun.
That's right, brother.
Shining.
Anyways, thanks for the comments. Keep those comments coming. We love you guys. Even if you don't like the show, we still love you, but at least you gave it a chance. We appreciate that. As always, everybody out there, have a great day and a beautiful night. Take care.
Bye.